Well, you know, that's like everything, right? It's just getting it into the, because now I'm trying to do my goals, trying to make sure I do yoga every morning, trying to do my meditation and my intentive, like where I visualize what I want to create. And then I also want to do my daily oracles. I'm like, oh my God, by the time it's noon, I'm barely not even dressed and I've done all this stuff, right? But it's like, I have to get up earlier. My struggle is getting up early enough that I can actually get it done before noon. Yeah, so it's like, it's all great. This is also why I feel like we should all have at least another 100 years. Because then, you know, by the end of it, you'll be mastering it. Okay, well, let's get ourselves started. Let's sit up nice and tall. You can close the eyes if you'd like, or just find that non-moving spot to gaze at as we come into our breath this morning. So let's take that deep, full inhale, let the torso expand. And then gently let that breath start to dissipate through the nose or the mouth. Just 2 more deep, full breaths. Really exaggerate, imagining the front, the sides, the back of the body can expand with that beautiful deep breath. And we're just letting go, relaxing as we let the exhale gently dissipate. 1 more full deep breath. Really imagine when you get to the top and you can't take any more breath, and see if we can just take just a tiny bit more breath for this moment. And then letting that all slowly go. We'll just take this first moment to check in, notice how everything is feeling here at the beginning of our practice this morning. How is our body? How is our mind? And if we notice any distractions or any thoughts, as we've done many times before, we'll take another deep breath in and just encourage them to dissipate with the exhale. For the next 60 minutes or so, they're not needed. We just let them go and release. And as we take this next breath in, just keeping ourselves in this relaxed state, let's start to open those arms towards the ceiling, taking that beautiful deep breath in, reaching the arms overhead. And gently as we exhale, we'll bring the hands to heart center. Now the legs, of course, can be crossed or straight, whatever feels good. We'll sit up tall. Imagine we're being pulled right from the top of the head. The thumbs are right in the middle of the heart center. And let's add a twist this morning. So we'll twist to the left to start. So thumbs pointing to the middle of the chest. The elbow starts to come behind us. We can start to maybe gaze over the shoulder or towards the back of the mat. Eyes open or closed. Take another deep breath in. And then gently, we'll just bring our hands, keeping them at heart center. We'll unwind back through center. Take a moment, elongate, sitting up tall. And then let's gently twist over to the right, letting that elbow go first. Then maybe the gaze, if that feels good, towards the back of the mat. Let's take another beautiful deep breath in. And slowly unwinding back through center. If the legs are crossed, we'll gently switch them, just changing them up. And then let's take our next breath in once more, rotating those arms overhead with that deep, full breath. And we're just going to let those hands land in front of us. Let's just let those hands land in front of us. Coming into a forward fold over the bent legs. Maybe we can get the elbows to the floor. Maybe the arms are long, whatever feels appropriate. Full inhale, and then once again, just using that exhale to just imagine we can sink and release. Maybe imagining about a micromillimeter more, maybe we can bend the elbows, maybe get the torso a little closer to the legs or the mat. 2 more times with that beautiful deep breath. Allowing our torso to expand, coming just slightly away from the legs for this moment. And then that exhale, we just find that space, imagining we can get that little bit closer. On this final exhale, we just let ourselves completely surrender for this moment, just letting the chin come to the chest, just fully relaxing into this forward fold. And while we're here, let's bring in our I am phrase for this beautiful Sunday. You're always welcome to switch it up, so if there's something else you want to create, you can change it up. But if it is a phrase we're already using, you can use that, of course. And we're gonna start to see, so maybe we start to imagine that little screen come across our mind's eye. I am abundant, prosperous, full of ease and connection. I am healthy. Whatever it might be, let's see those words come across our mind's eyes if they're being written or typed. I am. We can let those words start to dissipate off to the right side. We'll just let it go for this moment. And gently, we'll start to push ourselves away from the floor and the legs, coming back up through to seated. Let's bring the legs out straight this time. And then hopefully got our strap nearby, so we'll grab our strap. Making sure we're sitting up nice and tall on those seated bones. We'll come into our Paschimottanasana, seated forward fold. But we'll start with our Dhanurasana. So we'll just put the strap around the tops of the feet, sitting tall. The hands can come by the hips, shoulders away from the ears. We're making that kind of 90 degrees, the torso to the legs. You can close the eyes or gaze at the toes. Just feeling strong, shoulders away from the ears. Imagine someone's lengthening us right from the top of the head. And our feet are active as if we're stepping onto the floor. Let's take another deep, full breath, feeling that strong core, belly button to spine. And then as we exhale, let's grab the strap. We'll grab it evenly with each hand. Little bend in the knees to start. And we'll keep our spine long for this first round. So we'll start to open the torso towards the sky, doing a little bit of a back bend. And then as we've done before, we're gonna bend from the hips, keeping those legs with that little bit of a bend, imagining the torso could come right over the thighs, gazing towards the feet, shoulders away from the ears, feeling that beautiful elongation through the spine. As we exhale, just imagining there's just a little bit more space to move into. Let's take one more deep, full breath. We're imagining we're being lengthened and elongated through the spine. We've got beautiful flat back. And then as we come to this exhale, your choice as always, use that strap or release the strap as we let ourselves melt over the legs. Let the chin come to the chest, let the hands land wherever. And then of course you can walk it out, maybe lengthen one leg and bend the other if that feels good. Just noticing how the legs are this morning. Send some breath as needed. So if we feel there is some tightness or some dis-ease, just imagine bringing in that breath as we inhale. And then intending as we exhale that it might go. If there's some tightness in the hamstrings, we just imagine it's breathing and just blowing away any tightness in that area. And let's internally repeat our I am phrase once again. I am abundant, healthy, peaceful. I am. And then we just let that completely go over that last exhale, and gently let's start to bring ourselves away from the legs. Let's come through one round of seated cat and cow. So sitting up tall, back in that Dhanurasana, we'll bring the hands onto the thighs. Bring the chest forward. Imagine the top of the head and the tailbone can touch, opening through the front of the body. And then following the exhale as we round the spine, letting the breath go. Sit nice and slow, 2 more times. Really feel each part of the vertebrae move. Feel free to close the eyes if that feels good as we go through our cow variation, and then let that exhale go through that cat variation. Let's do one more deep, full breath. Really imagine that those shoulder blades might be able to touch behind us, opening through the front of the body, and that final breath for this moment, and getting all that breath squeezed out as we let it go. Coming back up through to seated, let's continue stretching. We'll grab our strap. You can keep the legs straight or cross them, switch them up if you like. And then let's come into our triceps. So let's grab the buckle with our right hand. We'll bring that left palm towards the midline and then away as we let it come and grab the bottom part of that strap. As always, maybe we're looking towards the floor as we get ourselves into this position, and then we're opening up, bringing our chin level, the right elbows towards the ceiling. We're walking those left fingers towards the right fingers on the strap. Close the eyes if that feels appropriate. As we take a deep breath in, feel that beautiful stretch into the shoulders, the arms, the triceps, the back, the torso. We'll take another 2 deep breaths, a beautiful inhale. Imagine we can open up, maybe get that right elbow a little bit straighter towards the ceiling. The exhale, we imagine we've got just a tiny more space, tiny little bit more space, good English, tiny bit more space to move into. As we take this last focused breath, we'll gently start to surrender as we exhale. We'll release with the left hand, let that right arm come forward. So always take a moment, notice how that feels, and then let's do that on the other side. So let's grab the strap or the buckle with the left hand, the right hand comes away from us as it comes around and grabs the bottom part of the strap. Once again, opening through the torso, trying to get that left elbow as straight towards the ceiling as possible, and then moving those right hands to meet the left. Again, trying to keep the chin level, close the eyes, or find that non-moving spot to gaze at. And as we take this breath, maybe we just notice how this side maybe feels in comparison to the other. Might be very similar, might be a little different. You just become aware. Let's take one more deep, full breath. Really imagine we get that elbow a little bit straighter. Move those right fingers just that little bit closer. And then as we inhale, we'll prepare. And that slow, gentle exhale will release with that bottom hand, that right hand, let that left arm come forward. And again, just take that moment and shake it out. Perfect. Let's continue. We'll do a little bit more movement just before we get into some more of the more restorative poses. So let's gently come to hands and knees. And of course, you're welcome to give yourself some extra padding under the knees if you need to. Let's do our full cat and cow this morning. So as always, you can give yourself a little bit of padding under the knees. Make sure the knees are under the hips. We'll spread those fingers nice and wide so the wrists are under the shoulders. Spread those fingers, and then when you're ready, we'll just tilt the tailbone and the top of the head towards the ceiling. Really let the belly drop. Feel a beautiful stretch into the stomach. Close the eyes if that feels good. And then as we exhale, we'll round the chin towards the chest, rounding the spine, coming through that scared cat. And as we do this, notice how this feels compared to when we were seated. Just noticing it feels good. It feels like there's more space, less space. We just become that observer as we gently follow our breath, exhaling through the scared cat. Let's do that one more time. Beautiful deep inhale. Really exaggerate dropping the belly. The chest is opening. The top of the head and the tailbone could touch. And one last exhale here, letting that breath go, rounding the spine. Let's slowly come to flat back. We'll do a little bit of balancing here just to get the core working this morning. So we'll do one limb at a time. So we'll start with the right hand. So making sure the left hand is grounded, the knees are under the hips, the toes can be tucked for stability, and then we're going to extend that right arm forward, palm towards the mat. Imagine someone's pulling the fingers towards the top of the mat. Strong core, feeling balanced. Let's take another deep breath in, imagining we've got that little more elongation through the arm. And then gently let the exhale go, bring that hand to the floor. Take a moment, realign, we'll ground that right hand. And then when you're ready, we'll do that with the left hand. Let's extend that left arm forward. Palm is towards the floor. Imagine that it's coming right out of the shoulder. Someone's pulling the fingers towards the top of the mat. Feeling strong and balanced. Another beautiful deep breath here. And slowly let that hand come back to the mat. Perfect. We're going to keep the hands. We're going to do each foot individually. So we'll start with the right foot. So when you're ready, we're just going to extend that right leg out behind us, pushing through the heel, trying to imagine that that heel is up at about glute height. Toes can be pointing to the floor, keeping our balance. And gently exhale. We'll bring that knee to the mat. Realign. We'll ground that right knee and the right toe. And then let's do that one final time with that left leg, extending through that left foot. So imagining that the heel is up at hip height. We're keeping our balance. Just One last breath here, and gently bringing the knee back to the mat. Let's take a moment in child's pose. If you want to grab the bolster, you can, or we can just come into traditional. We'll let our toes touch, bring our seated bones back, imagining they might be able to get towards the heels, let those arms be long. If it's comfortable, let the head come to the bolster or to the floor, where if we use a bolster or not, doesn't matter. We're going to gently release. And let's make this an active child's pose. So wherever we're released, whether we're released onto the bolster or the mat, we're gonna let those fingers walk even further away. So imagine those fingers can walk towards the top of the mat, just a little further away from us. And then we can get those seated bones a little closer towards the heels. Feel that beautiful elongation through the spine. Let's take our 3 deep breaths. Once again, a beautiful deep inhale. Let that torso expand. Exhale, just imagining we can move into that space. Staying with that breath for one more round. Deep, full inhale, let the torso completely expand. And as we let go of the breath, letting that exhale be nice and long, let's just allow our mind to be clear on what message the guides have for you this morning, this beautiful Sunday. What message did the fairies have? And today's message is find balance. Find the balance between your work, rest, and playtime, and you will have more energy, harmony, and productivity in your life. Take a power nap. So just notice if it brings up any thoughts right off the if it brings up any thoughts right off the bat. There we go. Finding balance. Let's notice if there's any thoughts and observations, or if there's nothing, that's totally fine as well. Maybe there's something about it, about finding that balance within your work, rest, playtime that has come up. We just notice. And if there is any observations, we just let them come in. And then slowly over the next exhale, we'll just gently release them once again. Maybe imagining we can sink just that micromillimeter closer to the floor for this last moment here. And we're going to slowly make our way back up through all fours. And we're going to stretch through the shoulders. So let's do our thread the needle this morning with each of the arms. So we'll come back gently through all fours. And if we use the bolster, we'll slide to the side. And let's start with the left arm this morning. So we'll keep the right hand grounded. We're just going to let that left arm start to float up towards the ceiling. The gaze can follow. And we're going to be very mindful as we bring that left arm under the right, coming onto that left shoulder. As always, we're coming to the left ear, the left shoulder area. We want to be mindful that there is no discomfort. So just making sure that there isn't any impingement onto the neck area. And the hips, we try to keep them a little bit squared towards the ceiling, and of course the toes can be tucked or flat, whatever feels good. With that right hand, you can stay just where it is at that 90 degrees, or you're welcome to start to walk that right hand to the top of the mat, starting to stretch out that right arm, and maybe even start to walk it over towards the left top corner. So feeling that deep stretch into the shoulder, into the upper back. We're really just trying to square our chest towards the right side of our mat at this moment. So as we come in, let's take our breath. Once again, that deep, full inhale. With the exhale, maybe imagining we might be able to extend our right arm a little more, or just find a little more space into the shoulder, the torso. Another beautiful deep breath. So we come into our final focus breath. Really imagine we can open the chest up here to the right side of our mat. And as we exhale, we'll just make sure our right hand comes back to the starting position if it's not there. So it's at 90 degrees. We'll ground our fingers. So spread those fingers nice and wide, grounding the hand. And we'll slowly bring ourselves back up through all fours. We can release that left arm to the sky if that feels good. Just giving it a little bit of space. And then gently coming back through all fours. So take a moment, notice how that feels on that side. And then we'll do that with the right side. So when you're ready, we'll keep that left hand grounded. Let's open up the right arm this time to the sky. And then we'll bring that right arm under the left, coming onto that right shoulder. So repeating on the other side. Taking a moment here as we get adjusted. Notice how this feels as we take our deep breath in. And again, you can keep that left hand where it is or walk it to the top of the mat or even towards the top right corner, because this time we're squaring our chest open to the left side of our mat. And take the moment to notice just how this side maybe feels in comparison. And then letting that observation gently go. Let's bring in our I am phrase once again as we take that breath in. I am open, healthy, abundant. The exhale, we let those words gently dissipate. On the next breath, let's walk that left hand back to the starting position, grounding it on the mat, and gently we'll release that right hand. Let that right hand come to the ceiling if that feels good, and gently back through all fours. Perfect. Let's come through to lying on the mat. We're going to start to stretch our legs. So we're going to come in, we're going to make sure we have our strap handy. We're going to do some of our candle poses and opening up our legs while we're lying on our back. So we'll gently make our way to the floor. Grab that strap, have it handy. And once you're here on the mat, you can just rock the knees into the chest if you'd like to. Just releasing the lower back, whatever feels good as we gently transition here. And then when you're ready, let's grab the strap. Let's place it right around the tops of our feet as we start to extend those legs towards the ceiling. While we're here, we're going to make sure we rock our right and our left shoulder under. We'll tuck our chin just a bit so the spine is long and supported. We're going to grab the strap evenly with the right and the left hands. Bend those knees, and then we can start to push through the heels, lengthening through the back of the legs. Just mindful that we're not holding any tension in our arms, just using the weight of our arms to assist us. Scanning our face, making sure we're not unintentionally holding some tension in the jaw, the brow, the forehead. And let's come back to our breath. Once again, that deep, full inhale. And that slow, gentle exhale. Maybe imagining that we can bend those legs on the inhale, and then with the exhale, we can start to extend through the heels, lengthen through the back of the legs if that feels good. Staying with this breath. We'll hold for just a few more moments, and we'll start to dive a little deeper into our message today. Find balance. Find the balance between your work, rest, and playtime. You will have more energy, harmony, and productivity in your life. Take a power nap. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. You've probably heard this before. Does it apply to you or someone you know? Are you working too hard and not allowing enough time for rest and play? Are you feeling bored? Or are you in danger of becoming boring? The truth with yourself. Be truthful with yourself when answering. Even though the fairies are known to be super hard workers, they also know how to rest and play. Let's take just another deep breath in here, maybe bending those knees just a tiny bit. And then as we exhale for this final moment here, start to extend through the heels, lengthening through the back of the legs. So from here, let's keep the strap around the right foot. We'll bring that left leg down to the mat. The left leg can come bent, so the knee is bent, the foot flat to the mat, or come and have it laying straight onto the mat. And then we're going to bend that right knee just a little closer to the torso and really exaggerate pushing through the heel, lengthening through that right leg. So we're doing like a one-legged candle here. Taking that breath in, and then as we exhale, let's see if we can grab the strap into the right hand. We're going to open the leg like a book, so your choice. You can have it straight or bend that leg. and start to let the leg open to the right. We just want to make sure we keep our left hip and the left shoulder planted on the mat. So we're only going to go as far as we can still keep control without lifting the left side off the mat. And if you do bend your leg, you're welcome to do that. And then you can always extend and lengthen the leg once you're in that perfect position. So you can add that extra stretch as well. Let's take the breath, deep, full breath in. So imagine we're creating space into any tightness. Maybe there's some in the hips, the leg, the glute. Let's take one more deep, full breath here. As we exhale, maybe just imagine we can lengthen that leg or just get that right hip a little closer, or the right foot a little closer to the floor while keeping that left hip and shoulder grounded for this last moment. And then we're going to activate the core muscles. So belly button to spine to assist. We'll bring that leg back through center. We're going to grab the strap with the opposite hand. So let's grab the strap with the left hand. And once again, this time our leg's going to go across the midline. So you can have the leg bent if you'd like, or straight. Or you can start bent and then go straight. So whatever feels good. We're just going to this time keep our right shoulder planted to the mat as we let that right leg head over to the left side of the mat. So feeling that deep twist. And then once the leg is bent, you can always extend that leg as well. So you feel that beautiful stretch into the glute, into the hips, keeping that right shoulder planted to the mat. Let's take our 3 deep breaths, that beautiful deep inhale. Imagining we're creating space with that exhale. You get those toes maybe a little closer to the floor, or just find that little bit more space into the shoulders, the upper back. Let's take one last deep, full breath here. As we exhale, just imagine we can find room wherever there's some tightness for this last moment. And then we're going to activate those core muscles again. Belly button to spine, pulling up the pelvis as we bring that leg back through center. We'll bring that leg straight, lengthening to the sky. We'll grab the strap with both sides, the left hand and the left part of the strap, the right with the right. And then when you're ready, we can grab the other leg and let's bring the left leg to meet the right. We'll come once again back into candle for just one moment. And then slowly, let's switch. We'll bring that right foot down. We can have it bent to start or straight. Just take a moment, notice how that feels. We'll bend the left leg and then really exaggerate pushing through the heel as we come through a one-legged candle on this side. Again, just taking a moment, make sure the shoulders are still rocked under, the chin is still tucked, and the spine is long. Another beautiful inhale. And then as we exhale, we're going to open the leg like a book. So we can grab that strap with the left hand, and once more, we can bend the leg to start or have it straight, whatever feels good. We're just going to keep that right side planted this time as we open up the leg to the left side. Keeping that left hip and the left shoulder grounded. Once you've opened as far as you can go, if your leg is bent, you're always welcome to start stretching it out and lengthening it, pushing through the heel. So again, checking in, noticing how that all feels. Staying with the breath. Let's bring back our positive I am phrase. Let's internally see the words come across our mind's eye. I am healed, abundant, peaceful. I am, and we'll let that go. Let's do one last moment. Feel that opening into the hips, and then we're going to activate those core muscles to assist as we bring the leg back through center. Let's do one-legged candle pose just for a moment, lengthening that left leg, grabbing evenly with both sides of the strap. And then when you're ready, we're going to make that left leg go over to the right. So grab that strap with the right hand. You can have that knee again bent or straight as we let the leg head over to the right side, keeping the left shoulder planted this time. And as always, if it is bent, you can always start to straighten it once you've gotten it across the midline where it feels good. Just find that perfect stretch into the leg, the hip, the glute, all those areas. Let's take another beautiful deep breath in. And we'll continue to learn a little bit more about finding our balance. Are you feeling bored? Or are you in danger of becoming boring? Be truthful with yourself when answering. Even though fairies are known to be super hard workers, they also know how to rest and play. The fairies are flying in now to remind you to take a break and give your body and mind a well-deserved rest. The problem with work is that once you've completed one task, there's always another one waiting. A bit like housework. Even though you may feel as though you need to rush to get everything done, taking some time out can actually give you more energy to complete the tasks at hand. Let's take just one last breath here. Deep inhale. As we exhale, maybe imagine we can lengthen or just find that little bit of space into the glute, the hip, the side, wherever we're feeling the stretch. And then we're going to activate the core muscles on the next breath. Activate the core muscles, bringing the leg back through center. Let's once again bring this time, we'll bring that right leg up to meet the left leg. We'll come back into our candle just for an extra moment here, grabbing evenly with the straps. And we're going to bend the knees just a bit and then really exaggerate pushing through the heels, feeling that lengthening through the back of the legs. For that little challenge, you're welcome to let go of the strap and just let the legs stay upright for just a few moments here. And of course, you can start to release them if you really want to challenge yourself. See if you can get them back to the mat together without bending the knees, and just see if we can actually get them all the way to the mat. Using the core without letting the upper back come off the mat. So whatever felt good, just let those legs come to the floor. You can hug the knees into the chest now, rock it out, notice how that all feels. And we're going to continue, but we're going to make our way back up to seated gently. So we're going to slowly make our way over to our right. Let's take a moment here in our recovery. Again, just checking in, noticing how are the legs, how is the torso, how is the mind in this moment. And as always, if we observe anything, we just let it come in. And as we exhale without attaching, we let it gently, slowly dissipate. And when you're ready, there's absolutely no rush, because we did have, our legs were upright for quite a while, but we're going to come into another restorative pose. We're going to keep ourselves in this relaxed pose as we gently come back up through to seated. And let's grab our bolster, so hopefully it's somewhat nearby. And let's open up into the chest. So we'll do the one where our spine is completely supported by the bolster. So we'll get the bolster in alignment with the long edge of the mat. The bottom of the bolster towards our tailbone. And then gently, as we've done many times, we'll let the spine be supported by the bolster. Tuck your chin, tuck your chin. Doesn't matter how many times I say that. Tuck your chin, letting the spine be completely released into the bolster. If you do need a little bit of extra space, you can always put a block at the end. And then we'll rock over that right and the left shoulder over each side of the bolster. The legs can be bent, Baddha Konasana, letting the bottoms of the feet touch. You can have them crossed or straight, whatever feels appropriate for the legs. Let's come into the breath once more. So that beautiful deep breath as we come into this pose. Notice how the breath travels as we're lying on our back on the bolster. As we let the balloon fill completely, noticing how the breath continues to inflate. And then slowly deflates, sinking and melting. As if we're butter over a bun. Another beautiful deep breath in. Maybe notice this time, how does the breath travel? Can we feel it in the back of the lungs, in the back of the spine? Can we feel it bringing us up off the bolster? And even if we can't, we just imagine. And then as we exhale, imagine that we're sinking, just getting even deeper and more supported by the bolster. One last final breath here, letting the entire torso expand and completely surrendering. Let's come back to our I am phrase once again this morning. This time, we're going to see that projector screen come across our mind's eye, or that movie screen. And we're going to see the words come across our mind's eye 3 times. I am, whatever our phrase is, healed, open, abundant. And the words dissipate off to the right. We repeat them again internally as we see them come up. I am. And they slowly dissipate off to the right. I am. On this 3rd round, as we let those words gently dissipate and release, we become the observer. And this time, we see ourselves in our I am phrase. So on that movie screen, we see ourselves just up here. And now we're going to imagine ourselves in this I am state. So if it's I am abundant, well, what does that look like to you? Where are you? Who would you be around? What items would be around you? What conversations would you be having? Sights, sounds? Would there be food about being abundant? Is there fancy food that you would eat? So just allow yourself to go and create this little scene, the scene that is your I am phrase. If it's health, what does that look like to be in perfect health? How does it feel? Really intend that you're creating that space for your I am. And if there's a feeling involved, really intend that you're feeling that in your body in this moment. So if perfect health feels a certain way, imagine yourself and feel yourself in that way at this moment. So as we hold this pose and we continue breathing, we can stay focused here and just adding all those dimensions, creating, imagining, intending. Your I am phrase is completed in this moment. And this is your life, and this is what it would look like in this state. Staying with our breath. If we've wandered away from our I am statement, if we're still there, we can still stay in with our creative energy, imagining and intending our statement is real and we are existing in this moment, in that reality, in our I am reality. So we take our next breath in. We just come back if we did get distracted once again. And if we're still on our I am phrase, we're going to gently start to let it go, start to let it dissipate. As your scene starts to just slowly dissolve off to the right side. As we let go of our I am phrase, maybe we just see it one more time, just the words, I am abundant, healthy, whatever it was. Just that one last time come across our screen on our mind's eye, and then we let it dissipate as well. We take another beautiful deep breath in, letting the torso expand, noticing again, just becoming that awareness of how the breath travels with this next inhale. And then we let that go, sinking and imagining one final time we're like dissolving over this bolster. And over the next breath, as always, there's never a rush. We're going to gently roll over to our right, coming into recovery once again, just for a few moments here. Checking in, noticing once more how everything feels after that. How is the back, the torso, the mind? As always, whatever we observe, we let it come in with the breath. And then let it slowly dissipate. And then what we're going to do, we're going to gently come up and we're going to do our obliques. So we're going to keep our bolster just where it is because we haven't done this one in a while. But we'll mindfully start to come back up through to seated, keeping our bolster sideways. We can start with the right side. We're going to bring our right hip against the bolster. The right arm comes behind the bolster as we gently come onto our right ear. And then the legs can be stacked, or the top leg, the left leg can be away. The left hand can come in front if that feels appropriate as we come onto our ear. So this is the first level, and we're just opening up through the sides. Just notice how this feels. As we take the first breath in, and let that exhale go, we just imagine that we can just surrender and release. Now if you find this pretty easy, we're going to add the little bit of the twist. So we just gently bring that right ear off the bolster, and we can start to bring the left ear onto the bolster. So we're gazing away from our legs. We're adding that twist into the upper back, upper torso area. If that is too much, you can always just come to line back on the right ear. So you're on the same side as you're lying on. But if it feels good, let's come into this twist, letting the opposite ear come to the bolster. And as we adjust, we just take a few moments here with the breath. A deep, full inhale. The exhale, just imagining we've got a little more space. You can just release into. Use that exhale to help you sink and surrender. We'll take one more breath here. And just imagine that we're completely melting, releasing over the bolster. And as we let go of that, we're going to jump back into our message this morning. Find balance. The fairies are flying in now to remind you to take a break and give your body and mind a well-deserved rest. The problem with work is that once you've completed one task, there's always another waiting, a bit like housework. But even though it may feel as though you need to rush to get everything done, taking some time out can actually give you more energy to complete the task at hand. Fairies love to snooze, and they're telling you that 40 winks in the afternoon, also known as a power nap, could be beneficial to you. The strong message here is to get some rest. Oh, excuse me. So contemplate on that, on getting some rest. We'll gently let that next breath, just let us completely surrender here as we drift away into stillness for a few moments here in this twist. If you're lying on one ear, gently bring yourself back to the starting position. So you're lying back on the same side, on the right side. Take a moment, check it out. Notice how that felt in the neck and into the shoulders. If needed, send some breath. And slowly, again, there's absolutely no rush. Over the next moment or two, we'll gently, keeping ourselves in this beautiful relaxed state, we're going to switch sides. We're going to gently start to bring your head back through set to the starting side. We'll start to push ourselves away from the bolster. And then whatever's easiest, we can put the bolster to the opposite side or just switch. So we're going to bring our left hip this time against the bolster. As we come and lie on that left side, the left arm's behind the bolster, the right arm can be in front to start. As we come to lying on the side, on the oblique to begin with. We'll take the first few moments once more just to get settled in, notice how that feels, maybe checking in and comparing this side to the other side. And then once again, if it is fairly easy and you want to take it up a little bit, you can gently start to just bring your torso slightly away from the bolster. This time we'll bring the opposite ear, so that would be the left ear, or the right, because we're on the right side, so left, whichever, the right ear this time. The opposite ear to the bolster for adding that twist. And you can always try it, because maybe one side it didn't feel quite right, but maybe it's okay on the other. And of course, if at any moment it becomes too much, just bring yourself back to the starting position. And as we sink into this pose, we can come back, maybe coming back to our I am phrase, internally repeating and seeing the words, or back to our scene, our I am scene. Or we can say with our breath and creating space. So if there's a lot of tension into the shoulders, the upper back, or any area we want to create space, we can just visualize bringing in that breath as that golden healing light. And then just imagine sending it to help assist and create some more space. Whatever feels appropriate as we hold just for another minute or so here in this twist, side support. Slowly coming back to your breath, just in case you wandered away from your focus. Maybe you're back, maybe you've been focused, maybe you wandered away. Just bring yourselves back with this next breath. And if we were on our I am phrase, we can just let that dissipate over the next exhale. And if you're on the opposite ear, take a moment, bringing yourself back to the starting position and checking it out, noticing how this side feels. Send some breath into the neck and the upper back if you need to. Let's take just another moment here. And of course, there's no rush as we slowly start to bring ourselves up and away from the bolster, keeping ourselves in that relaxed state. We're going to do one more supported one with the bolster. We're going to gently come back through seated. And we're just going to do a supported Baddha Konasana. So gently keeping ourselves in that relaxed state. We'll just sit up tall. We'll grab the bolster. We'll place it under the legs. And we'll bring those bottoms of the feet to touch, making that diamond shape. And if you have a block handy, you can have that there to have the head land on the block. We'll sit up tall. We'll just take a deep breath in, reach those arms overhead, and then slowly let ourselves melt over the bolster. And again, the chin might be supported by the block or the bolster, or maybe the forehead, if that feels good. You can even stack your hands, whatever feels appropriate. And of course, you don't have to use it if you don't want to. As we come into this forward fold, we'll do our 3 deep breaths, that beautiful deep inhale. So just letting that inhale bring us slightly out and away from the bolster, the block. And then with the exhale, just imagining maybe we could get our chest right to the mat between the legs, or maybe our nose towards our toes. Just imagining that we can just release that little bit more. Taking another beautiful deep breath in, really exaggerate, filling up the entire torso. Once again, the front, the sides. Imagine if you can't quite feel the breath go into the back of the body. And then letting this exhale be as long and gentle and extended as possible. And at the bottom of that exhale, we'll just let the breath go. And let's come back to our message, finding balance. This card could also be saying that you're playing too much. Perhaps you're procrastinating when you ought to be working. You need to be really honest with yourself about this, as only you know if you have the right balance of work, rest, and play in your life. So you can contemplate that. How is your work, rest, and play balance of your life? Is there somewhere you'd like to edit, audit, adjust? So as we hold here for just a few more moments, just allow yourself to just contemplate that. What is this message telling you specifically? Whatever that gut internal first thought is most likely right. And if you do know what you want to change, maybe make that a positive statement for the final few moments here. So if it's you want to be more balanced with your work or more balanced with your free time, let's make it that positive. I am balanced in my time. I am balanced with work and play. It can be something as easy as that. And if that feels appropriate, just let yourself internally repeat your I am balance phrase just a few times. I am in harmony and balanced with my work and my play. And of course, whenever it feels appropriate, you can just let that go. And we'll be here for just another few moments, just imagining maybe we can get a little closer, release that little more in this beautiful forward fold. As we come through that final exhale, one final time, we're going to start to make our way back to lying on our mat. So we'll slowly start to bring ourselves up and away from our equipment. We can put the bolster, block, anything we might have off to the side. And let's gently make our way to lying on the mat. We're going to do a set of twists. So gently keeping ourselves in that relaxed state, making your way to lying. As always, you're welcome to have the knees into the chest if that feels good. And we'll just come into some simple twists this morning. Arms out to cowboy surrender or out to a T. Let's let the knees drop over to the right as we keep that left shoulder grounded to the mat, maybe gazing over the left arm, shoulder. Close the eyes if that feels appropriate. That beautiful deep breath in. Just knowing that you're finding your balance as you exhale. Balance in our body, balance in our mind, balance in our work and our play. Another beautiful deep full breath here. And then as we exhale, just imagine we can get the knees all the way over to the right side for this last moment. And then use those core muscles to bring the knees back through center. And then take a moment, readjust, and we'll let those knees drop over to the left, keeping this time that right shoulder flat to the mat, cowboy surrender or out to a T. That beautiful deep inhale, that slow, gentle exhale. One last moment. And as we finalize this last twist here with that exhale, we'll use those core muscles one final time to come back through center. And we'll gently transition into our Savasana, final resting corpse pose. So just letting the legs be comfortable. Let the spine be long, the chin is tucked, the back of the arms are supported by the floor. And let's take a moment and notice how we feel. Let's scan the body. We're going to scan the body from the feet all the way up to the crown. We're going to do the left and right simultaneously, as well as the front and the back. So as we exhale, we'll prepare. On the inhale, we imagine we're breathing in through the feet, through the shins, the calves, hamstrings, quadriceps. We continue breathing, bringing our awareness into the hips, lower back, abdominal area. Continuing to scan, intending that everything is being released as we come through the core, the middle back, the chest, the upper back. We come to the arms as we continue with the breath. Biceps, triceps, forearms, back of the arms, the wrists and the hands. And with this next breath, we continue moving up, scanning the neck, front, back, sides, coming into the head, scanning the jaw, the brows, the entire face and head, ensuring that there's no tension. And as we take another deep breath, we're imagining that we're just pulling up the life energy, maybe a golden light coming from earth, up through the feet, through the legs, through the torso. It follows the spine and it gently releases out through the top of the head. And you feel your crown connecting with the higher realm, with spirit, source, God. And you are getting the downloads of how you need to balance today. So as you connect, you appreciate that connection and ask for guidance on what can help to assist you in your balance. And it might be energetic that comes in. It might be something we understand or we don't understand. But we're just open to making that connection and intending that our divine guides are supporting us with finding this perfect balance. And as we exhale, we let that go. We thank ourselves for making that connection, and we let the energy dissipate. And we'll gently drift off into stillness for just these last few moments. Find the balance between your work, rest, and playtime, and you will have more energy, harmony, and productivity in your life. Take a power nap. As we come back to our body, we take a deep breath in, just bringing ourselves back. Maybe wiggling our fingers and toes as our life force makes its way back in. There's absolutely no rush. And we'll slowly start to maneuver over to the right, coming into recovery. Take a moment here. As always, I recommend just checking out, noticing how everything feels here as we come to the end of our practice this morning. Maybe set this intention to take this relaxation away with us for the next few days till we meet again on the mat. And slowly, we'll start to bring ourselves up through to seated. You can keep the eyes closed if that feels good, or start to gaze slightly forward. And let's finish with our final breath. When you're ready, let's bring in that deep breath. Reach those arms one final time overhead today. And let those hands come to heart center on the exhale. And just resonating and taking this moment to thank ourselves for taking this time to practice. Namaste. I hope you enjoyed that. Got you all stretched out for your Sunday, and then don't forget, work on your balance because it's coming up again, okay? It's always funny when you like, I do feel like I do pull a lot of very similar cards when there's like a similar message that come up. Like, I feel like I pulled this recently. I feel like I pulled this recently. Obviously, it's still telling me that we still need to work on that. Because it is amazing how many cards I have not pulled out of some of those decks. Because again, I was doing another reading, I think it was yesterday's or the day before, and I'd never pulled one of these cards, and I've used this one set so many times and I'd never seen that card, right? And then it was just very appropriate. So I always find that just so funny when you're like, yeah, it feels like it's always the same message. Yeah, because you have to keep hearing it and keep hearing it. Yeah, find balance again, right? Awesome. Well, same time next week. Perfect.